Hello, I'm Gail Hamilton, a senior researcher at MDRC. Over the next few minutes, I will address one of the central questions in the ongoing debate on welfare reform. What is the best way to move welfare recipients into work? Should they be helped to find jobs quickly, or should they be encouraged to enroll in education or training programs before they look for jobs? I will share with you what nearly 2 decades of highly credible research using random assignment tell us. Let me first tell you the bottom line findings, and then I'll give you a few details. The answer to the question is that neither of the two pure approaches works best to increase welfare recipients' employment and earnings and to reduce their welfare receipt. Instead, the most effective strategy is a combination of the two, or what we call a mixed strategy. Based on their work experience or educational level, some welfare recipients are helped to find a job quickly, and others are enrolled first in education and training programs, ones that are employment-focused. As I'll explain, the research shows that a mixed strategy, not a one-size-fits-all approach, works best. But first, I want to make an important point. The research I will summarize was conducted only on mandatory programs that required welfare recipients to participate as a condition of their receiving welfare. All of the programs I will talk about closely monitored and enforced this mandatory participation requirement. This research did not study programs that allow people to enroll voluntarily in education or training, such as in community college classes. Now, let me turn to the evidence on what works best in mandatory welfare to work programs. This research record tells a very interesting story that unfolded over the past 15 years. The story has 3 chapters. The first chapter begins in the early 1990s in Riverside County, California. As part of a 6-county welfare study MDRC did for the state of California, we found that Riverside County operated the most successful welfare to work program that had been studied until then. Let me show you one chart that illustrates the difference that Riverside County's program made in the earnings of single welfare mothers compared to the other 5 California counties we studied. As you can see, Riverside increased welfare recipients' earnings by more than twice as much as the other 5 counties did. This finding caught the attention of people across the country. They wanted to know, what did Riverside County do to achieve these results? In response to this question, we pointed to 2 main features of Riverside's program. First, Riverside used a mixed program strategy. About half of the participants enrolled in basic education, GED, ESL, or skills training classes. The other half went directly into job search as their first activity. Second, all of Riverside's activities, even its basic education classes, were employment-focused. A strong employment message permeated the entire program. Work was the goal. The second chapter of the story also begins in the early 1990s. At the time, both policymakers and practitioners were interested in learning what worked best: a pure job search first approach for all welfare recipients, or a pure education and training first model for everyone. This is precisely one of the main questions taken up by the National Evaluation of Welfare to Work Strategies that MDRC conducted for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Education. 3 sites ran head-to-head tests of the 2 approaches. Welfare recipients were randomly assigned either to immediate job search as their first activity, or to education and training programs first. Now, let me show you the results. As you can see, both the education and training first approach, shown in the first bar, and the job search first approach, shown in the second bar, raised earnings. The difference between the 2 bars was only about $740 over 5 years, which was not statistically significant. In other words, the 2 pure approaches raised earnings by essentially the same amount. This was a very surprising result. Most people thought that the education and training first program would produce much bigger gains in earnings than a job search first approach. But that is not what the evidence showed. We think there are several reasons why this happened, including the fact that many recipients did not want to return to school or training, and many dropped out. In fact, overall, enrollees participated, on average, only about 8 months. Furthermore, the pure education and training first approach cost about twice as much to operate as the pure job search first approach. But its results were no better for welfare recipients, not even for those who were more disadvantaged. The third and final chapter of the story comes from Portland, Oregon, where MDRC studied another program from the National Evaluation of Welfare to Work Strategies. Interestingly, the program in Portland, like the one in Riverside County I spoke about before, was an employment-focused mixed strategy program. Portland also aimed to help welfare recipients get better jobs. When you compare Portland's impact on earnings to Riverside's, and then compare both of them to the pure education and training first approach and the pure job search first approach, you get a striking result. Earnings increases from both Portland and Riverside were more than double those from either of the pure approaches. So, the best available evidence shows that mixed strategies with an employment focus seem to work best. In fact, the mixed strategy worked best for a wide range of welfare recipients, including those with and without a high school education and those with and without recent work experience. What I've explained in this presentation is only part of the story of what we know about welfare to work programs. MDRC has also studied ways to help people increase their total family income so they can move out of poverty. These strategies are described in another video on our website that discusses how different welfare to work programs affect children, and we are now studying how to help the hardest to employ move into work and low-wage workers move into better jobs. So please feel free to explore our website and to come back often so we can share our new findings with you. Thank you.